Take one. Hashtag we have the Allen key.
All right, so Damien, this is the first take as usual.
We only do one take.
We're only doing one take. Hopefully no cuts in between.
We never do cuts.
All right, so firstly, let's just get straight into this. This is the big fight. Brandon, Boyd, it's the rematch. Your initial thoughts?
Yeah, look, as I said, when the Super 4 was announced, we were really hoping for the Boyd fight straight out as our first fight. Didn't play that way, we got Rourke. So, it worked out well. Brandon obviously beat Rourke. He performed extremely well. And we've got the rematch with Boyd. Like I said, when I predicted the tournament, I believed that the two of them would be the final. And that's what's happening. So, I'm happy because we're going to round 13 of 24 rounds. So, I look forward to it. Both guys know each other. They've fought each other. Both fighters have made improvements. So, I'm expecting a really good fight.
Brandon versus Boyd this time, how much different is it?
There's a big difference now. For me, I think it's, when we looked at the Rourke fight, where, like I said to everyone, you've got a different man in front of you when he fights for 20,000 and 200,000. Me and Brandon haven't spoken about this money once. This is for us not about the money whatsoever. It's not like we're saying, hey, Brandon, we can win 60% of 750 grand. We haven't spoken about that. We've both been speaking about how bad we wanted this. We've done all the homework we can. We're putting in extra time into this camp, not just to make the improvements, but for Brandon's future as well. He knows what's at stake here. He wants to really perform. We want to line him up for his future. He's 26 years old. He's got a good 7, 8, 9 year career left in front of him. Even 10 years if it really, really goes well. So for me, for boxing, Brandon's the younger fighter. If I'm not mistaken, I think Boyd's 31, 32 years old. So there's age on Brandon's side, and I think it's more beneficial for boxing to have Brandon win because there's longevity in Brandon. Boyd's 31, he's had a tough MMA career, he did well in MMA, he shifted over to boxing. As he said, he loves boxing. He was a former amateur, he had a good number of amateur fights, so his heart has been in boxing, but he was a good MMA fighter, and I believe he was a better MMA fighter than he is a boxer. And I think the reason I say that is because of his growth within MMA was huge. I think at one stage he was probably the biggest MMA fighter in Africa, and I don't think he can be the biggest name in boxing in South Africa in that division and worldwide. I don't think he can compete at that kind of level. So for me, I think Brandon's got the time to grow and get better and become a household name for South African boxing to represent on an international stage.
Now, you got you said everything came together in the Rourke fight and training. You Brandon had figured out like how you want him to do it, and that sort of worked. And obviously you'd take that from that fight and bring it into this fight. But because it's Boyd Allen, because of the first result, is there a burning desire within him to do even better?
100%. I think there's a burning desire in my whole team for Brandon to do better. We like I said, we've put in extra time for this fight. It's not the same fight. Brandon versus Rourke and Brandon versus Boyd is not the same fight. So there has to be a change in game plan. We have to come strategically different. We have to come fitter for the fight, stronger for the fight, faster for the fight. So there's all those elements, and it's not just because it's Boyd. It's for the future of Brandon as well. Like I said, he's 26 years old. I want him to grow from strength to strength. I don't want him to plateau. Yes, he had a great performance with Rourke. I was very happy with the performance, but do I turn around and say, I'm happy with the performance, it's good enough, that's where I want to keep him at? No, I want to build him to become an international name. I want him to compete at a top level in boxing. So at the end of the day, it's not just Boyd in front of us, it's the future opponents in front of us, and that's what I want to get out of Brandon. He's 26, he can be nurtured, he can be taught, and he's got a long time in boxing still, where Boyd's time is limited. So as I said, for the benefit of boxing, it would be better to see Brandon win because the fans will have a longer career with Brandon than they will with Boyd. And I think stylistically, I think they enjoy a Brandon more than they enjoy a Boyd. It's just the styles. Styles makes fights. We had a great fight between one another in the first fight, and I think Brandon showed his worth in the first fight against Boyd, and Boyd showed his toughness and his credibility, and I think that's also due to his MMA career. He's been in tough fights, he's been in wars, so he's able to stick it out and stay in a tough fight. But like I said, it is a bit of banter, but we have the Allen key, and we know we do because we saw it in the first fight. We were right there, and I think Brandon has grown so much from that fight, and I expect him to do even better in the second fight, and I believe my man will walk away with a knockout.
If Brandon wins the fight, is there a local future or an international future for him? Because I don't really see anyone else left here within South Africa to really compete with either the winner.
Yeah, look, I don't think there is any more competition for Brandon if he beats Boyd. I think down the line, if obviously I've got another one of my fighters fighting Khululeku, if Khululeku would be willing to come down at some stage, I'd love Brandon to have a rematch with him, redeem himself, show that he's at that stage. It was too early in his career. He's matured as an athlete. He's a better fighter now, and I think he could beat Mshlongo. So that's a fight I would like to do later down the line, so he can redeem that loss. And for me, I definitely think maybe the next opportunity is an African, and then stepping it up into Europe and South Americans, that kind of thing.
I think particularly at this at Golden Gloves Promotions, of course, Brandon didn't come in as sort of the favourite to win the tournament. Does he need to make a statement now, not just because it's getting past Boyd, but to really secure futures in sort of that sort of industry?
Yeah, definitely. Look, he's got to get through Boyd. It's just his task. That's what he's got to do in order to continue making something in boxing. For me, it's when the tournament started, everyone wrote on Facebook that they were behind Boyd and Rourke and Tristan. Brandon's name was barely thrown in the mix, maybe one or two comments. Now Brandon's turned from the complete underdog to the slight favourite to win the tournament, and yes, we're grateful for it. It's I can't say it gives us any bit of confidence, because if we're going to take it as a bit of confidence, maybe we're going to slacken our work. So Boyd, yes, on the scorecards won the fight. I don't think he did, but on the scorecards he did. For me personally, I think we won the first fight, and I want him to go into this fight with the underdog mentality like he did when he went into this tournament. I want him to walk away with that ring at 750 grand and a bright future in boxing.
In the interview I did with Peter Smith as well, they said, because obviously Brandon said he wants to knock out a Boyd. Yeah. Peter Smith did remark, he said that if he would have done it, he would have done it the first time. Is that how do you take that one?
Yeah, look, if that's Peter's belief, that's Peter's belief. If he doesn't think Brandon can knock out Boyd, he didn't do it in the first fight. But Brandon ain't the same Brandon that fought Boyd in the first fight. So if that's his feeling, so be it. Like I said, Boyd is tough. He comes with a lot of fight experience. He can stick it out. He showed guts in the first fight. There was times he was hurt in the first fight. He turned around after 10 rounds to Thysse, and Thysse like, come, you got to throw more punches. Just like, I can't. So he stuck in there, survived the last 10, 11, and 12 in the fight. He held it out there. So he's tough. He's got good mental strength. He's willing to take the punishment and try his best. But for me, I think Brandon's just evolved as a better fighter. I think his growth has been a lot more than Boyd's. And if you look at the first fight was competitive. It was a close fight. And if you look at the growths in the two fighters, Brandon's grown more than Boyd. But Boyd's under a new trainer. He had a bit of time with Peter for the Tristan fight. There was some improvements there. Do I believe that there will be more improvements? Yes. Do I think there will be massive improvements? I don't think so. I think there will be bits of it, but I think Brandon will come in even way better than he did against Rourke.
Now I'm going to take a detour, because also in the other interview I did, I talked about other boxers as well. You got a couple of fights coming up in KZN.
Yes.
That's an exciting thing. You got Sanele, you got Young and Corsi, Babyface, Baby G, sorry, wrong one, and Augustine Matata against Bulldog. Just talk a bit more about that one.
Okay, so Nkosi and Sanele, I'm really happy that they're fighting at home. It's Maduna's first fight under me. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. One thing performing in the gym, another thing performing in the ring. So I want to see what he does in the ring. I'm looking forward to that. I know he's got a bit of a tough customer in front of him. With Nkosi, I think he's just growing from strength to strength, and I think that's a boy we really need to take note of, because I think he could be the next Imani Colombo. I really, really do. Not just in terms of power, but I think in skill set, and I think he's got a bright future. I think there's something special there. For me, this is Augustine Matata's going out party. This is for him to show everyone I'm the best at middleweight. He stopped Walter Dlamini before Dlamini won the SA title. And I hadn't sugarcoated him at all. I put him in tough fights from the beginning. So what I did is I said to myself, the Mshlongo fight is something I wanted last year, and it's now happening. It's happening in KZN, Mshlongo's hometown. I'm happy about it, because it's an opportunity for for Matata to fight Bulldog in his hometown, but also for Bulldog to rise up for the occasion and thing. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions for Mshlongu whether he's still got it going into this fight. You know, Colombo had fought a more prime Bulldog. Matata's got a slightly older Bulldog. He suffered the loss. Then he had a draw in Italy. Then he stopped Wade Groth. Then he stopped Walter Lamini. So he's had a bit of a rocky one, and now he's back on a good path. So maybe it is a good time for us to face him. Maybe he's a little bit old, or maybe he's on a good thing. So I'm expecting a fireworks fight. I really do think it's deserving the being the headliner for the night. I really believe it's going to be a great fight, and I think the South African fans are really going to have a great fight come that night.
Funny enough, it's pitted you against Thysse Mtolo again. You know,
Yeah.
you guys have had a few fights in recent times, probably the most between two trainers. How do you feel coming up against him?
Yeah, I feel good. You know, I've got nothing against Thysse. I know he works his guys extremely hard. You know, every now and again, me and him exchange a couple of words. You know, just how's it, what's happening. I don't have anything against Thysse. He's a good trainer. He's done wonders in boxing over the years, so I know he's going to bring Bulldog extremely well prepared. We're going to bring Matata well prepared. It's going to be a great fight. The Rourke and Brandon fight, Thysse had brought Rourke to the table. It was a great fight. The fans loved the fight. We've had a few matchups. The fight I'm really looking forward to is me and Peter. We've never fought each other. You know, he had fought my dad a few times. There was wins and losses between each other. I've never had a guy fight Peter. And Peter's never had a guy that fight one of my boys. So that's a nice matchup, and what also adds to it's a rematch. It's the main fight of the tournament. It's a forward war. There's a lot of money at stake. There's a ring, top 15 rating. There's WBA Pan African title on the line. So it's exciting. It's nice. We're looking forward to it. That for me, I fought Thysse. It doesn't change anything on how I'm going to train Matata. Matata's going to come extremely well prepared for the fight. The fight I'm looking forward to now is the 21st of March, and then I'll put my focus into the 5th of April. Yes, I'm focusing on the 5th of April, but the 21st of March is my priority at the moment.
I'm not going to ask you any questions about him, but I want to ask about the achievements Ilunga Makabu had with the WBC World title. It's massive. I mean, this is, I think, the third. What is
so
it?
he's the fourth African to win the WBC World title. Being based in South Africa, he's the third. So Sugarboy Malinga was the first. He accomplished it twice with my father. Won it, and then lost it. And then my dad's assistant trainer at that time had left him, and he went on to his own, and he took Dingon Tubela to win the WBC. So the Durandts gym is only, should I say, guys in the Durandts stable, like my dad, Elias Shabalala at that time was my dad's assistant, left my dad. Guys that have been in our facility are the only guys that have brought the WBC to South Africa. So it's a massive accomplishment. The last time we saw WBC in this country was 20 years ago, in 2000, when Dingon had won it. And now we have Makabu as the WBC World Champion. So it's really something special. You know, the history behind the WBC is Sugar won it the first time, lost it in his first defense. Won it, lost it in his first defense. Dingon won it, lost in his first defense. Zuma Nelson was the only guy that had made a few defenses. So my goal is to break that.
Yeah,
I want to break that, and I want to make a few defenses. And I hope Junior goes on to unify the division, make some big money. And I don't want him to be in that. I don't want him to be in boxing for forever. Do you know what I mean? I don't want him to get to a stage where he's been in the sport too long and it's not necessary. I want him to accomplish what he needs to accomplish and walk away from the sport.
He's done a massive thing as well. As I said, fourth African to do so is a phenomenal achievement. Yeah. He was away for a long time. We eventually got the news that he was in a fight, and at the end of the day, he did it. Champions only. That's what you. It's your motto. Your motto. Champions. Brandon Thysse, come fight night. Is that what's going to be?
Yeah, 100%. Look, what's nice is I have two WBA Pan African titles back to back. 21st of March with Brandon, and then obviously Matata versus Mshlongu, which is another WBA. So it's the junior middle and the middleweight, so right next to each other. And look, I must be honest, I'm having my luck with bigger guys. Junior middleweights, cruiserweights. The bigger guys I'm doing well. So I definitely want to produce some good results with some smaller guys. I've done well with Jackson, did well with Dumazweni, so I'm able to mix it up. But yeah, like I said, I've just it's been a blessing in the short time of space I've had with professional boxers. I'm going on to 4 years as working with professional fighters now, since my father retired in 2016 in May. So we're coming up to 4 years, and I've really accomplished a lot. You know, I've made a couple of SA champions, African champions, international champions, and the WBC world champion. It's really something special for me, and I just feel like I'm on the right road, and I've got the right team around me and the right fighters and the right environment. So everything's come together. Like they say, there's no I in team. So it's a joint effort, and everyone in my gym just wants everyone to keep winning and be successful, which is it's nice to see.
It's exciting. It's only the beginning as well. It's right in the beginning, and obviously it's a long career. I'm assuming you'll be in boxing for a very long time.
Look, I've got a goal in my mind. You know, my dad said to me when I was umming and ahhing about going into professional boxing, he said to me, my boy, just go on to make one world champion. And I did it. I made a WBC world champion. So I know he's extremely proud. You know, my dad did it at 33. I did it at 29. If it was 1 week earlier, it would have been on my birthday, which would have been powers. But I did it at 29, and I'm appreciative of that, and it's a massive accomplishment for me. I think guys now take me a lot more seriously because I made a WC world champion, and I'm grateful for that. Whether they do take me seriously or don't take me seriously, they'll experience it on fight night if they come against me. So I'm happy. I'm in a good space with boxing. My training aspect's really good. I'm getting better as a manager. I want to get better and better. And you know, my dad trained and managed fighters. He had promoted with Rodney many years ago. He did the Night of the Champions 2 years in a row. It was 2007, 2008. The 1 year my dad had 14 current champions stand in a ring. The following year, 19 current champions. So that was a massive accomplishment. I want to get to a stage where I'm able to host my own evening where I can represent 10 plus current champions. That will be a massive accomplishment for me, and then hopefully take it further. I'd love to go on to for me, I'd love to actually train 1 or 2 European fighters. That would be a goal for me. I'd like to try and get involved with 1 or 2 European fighters, and I think that will come eventually, that I train Europeans. So I don't want to be stuck only training South Africans or Africans. I want to be, no South Africans have ever trained a European. So I want to train someone off our continent, and I want to make someone off our continent a world champion, because then I can say, look, I've taken different backgrounds and I've brought them to the highest level. Yeah. So that's something I really would like to do.
Well, again, thank you for having me at your gym. Obviously, you had a good media day today, and a lot of high going into this fight. Now it's time to do the business.
100%. We have the Allen key, eh?